Hey, this is Jamal Abbott, and just want to thank you for tuning in again and checking out the show. A couple announcements before we jump into today's episode. Just want to thank you so much for listening and downloading the podcast. We've reached over 100 downloads, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much for tuning in and for checking out this crazy guy's thoughts. Also, just want to give you a heads up too that jamalabbott.com is up. It's live, and this is where the show lives. So if you want to check out that part, it's JAHMALABBOTT.com, jamalabbott.com, and I have notes up there, and we'll have some other resources to check out. You're going to need it for today's episode. So for today's episode, why don't you do this? If you're not driving, if you're sitting still somewhere, go ahead and go to jamalabbott.com/goal. Hey, I had to interrupt here. I kind of made a mistake here. I thought I was able to customize this link to get you an easy picture, but I don't know how to do that. So do me a favor, just go to the show notes at jamalabbott.com, look for this episode, and you'll find the picture there. I promise it won't take you that much. So apologize for that. We don't have a custom link yet. Still trying to figure that part out. Okay, back to your show. We're going to need that, and we're going to use this picture that you see on the screen. And that's today's episode. It's about goals. It's about how to document your goals and then ultimately how to execute on them. So this picture is near and dear to my heart. About 15 years ago, somewhere around April, I came up with this thing that I called a goal chart. So with this goal chart, it was me to write down my thoughts in the form of pictures. So at this time, I was just getting ready to go into the Air Force. And if you haven't listened to the first podcast episode on how I got started, you may want to check that out. That gives you just a little bit more background information about where I was coming from and how I got into the tech field and just kind of my thoughts at that time. But it's after 2003 when I first came to Las Vegas and just getting ready to go into the Air Force, and I made this goal chart. So at the time, my wife, who was my fiance at the time, we were living in two different states. So I was living in Nevada and she was living in California at the time. And I knew that one thing that was driving me to do better for myself was her. She was the sole reason why I wanted to be a better man and be a better person in this life. And I don't know what exactly I was reading or what I was even listening to. It's not like we had social media back in those days, but I got the idea that it was good for me to write down my goals and have something to look at. So I took these 7 pictures off the internet, put it like on a Word document, printed it out, and then I believe I gave that to Nicole at the time to hang on to. And then it's these goals that I would look at over the course of 13 years that would keep me motivated and keep me on the path to ultimately knock out all of these goals. And we're going to talk about these 7 goals that I laid out here. So next to me, I have some cut up pieces of paper with some numbers on them, numbers 1 through 7. And I'm just going to pick a random number and we'll just talk about these goals. So if you hear some rumbling in the background, that's me digging in the paper, and we are going to pull up the number 3. So the number 3 is a picture of a nurse. So this picture of a nurse was something that I pulled up, and it represented my wife's ambitions to become a nurse. So at the time in 2004, she was working as an overnight stalker, not stalker, but stalker, working as an overnight stalker at one of these big places that you know, it's one of these places that you shop at. But she was working there overnight, stocking the shelves, and she didn't really have the opportunity to go out there and become a nurse. So one of the goals that we had together, we decided that once I joined the military, she would then go to school full time, focus on becoming a nurse, and then get that knocked out. it didn't go as we thought it would. Didn't go as we planned, right? So we had some things along the way. We moved from the California area, from the Las Vegas area, to Dayton, Ohio, and that's where I was in the military. So she went out to school there for a little bit, and then we came back to Las Vegas, had our first son, so that kind of delayed school just a little bit. So it was about maybe around 6 years or so that she was going to school, doing what she had to do to become a nurse, and then ultimately got that knocked out. So very proud of her for sticking with that and getting that done. So that's number 3, how my wife became a nurse. And we're going to dig into the next one here. I'm not looking, just trying to grab one of these. And this is the number 6. So the number 6, it's funny that we jumped here to this computer, because this was my career goal that I wanted to knock out. So in the first episode, like I talked about, I wanted to join the Air Force and work in the PC repair field. So before I went into the Air Force, and shortly after I graduated from high school, I had the opportunity to work as an intern. And that's where I got my first shot at fixing computers, fixing laptops, doing all sorts of cool and fancy things with that technology. So I loved it. Completely changed my life. And then I said, you know what? I want to do this in the Air Force. That'd be so cool. What I did, prepared myself for... Actually, let me back up before that. I moved to Las Vegas in 2003, thinking it was a good idea to go out there and then work in the computer field. It didn't happen. I got lazy. I played video games, wasted 8 months of my time doing that. The only thing I got out of it was learning how to make the best breakfast burrito. So if you're ever in Vegas and you want a breakfast burrito, come holler at me. I got you covered. But I ended up making breakfast burritos and then growing my hair out. Not really a good use of my time at the time. I got tired of that, and then I decided to join the military after talking to my family. And then I needed to take a test. So I took the ASVAB test. So that's essentially the military entrance exam. And that's the thing that I was focused on before I went into the Air Force. What I needed to do was score high enough on this test to qualify for a computer career field. It didn't work out that way. I came up short, was a little bummed out, but I got the next best thing, which was a opportunity to do telephone systems, which is the telecommunications field that I'm currently in right now. So it's crazy how that works out. I did that, loved it. And then come to find out when I joined the military, telephone systems, all there are just big computers, but just happen to be for telephones. So funny how that worked out. And then today, you don't fix computers. They're tiny. You replace them if they break. And then with telephone systems, they get super complicated even today. So I'm glad that worked out, and no complaints with that choice. So that's number 6, that computer and the mouse. That was my career and ambition to want to go into computers, but we'll just say technology for now. All right, so digging in the bag again. And we have number 1. Okay, number 1, it's a picture of a big yellow smiley face. And all that is just wanting to be happy. So I wanted to be happy with my wife. I wanted to be happy with life. I wanted to be happy with myself. And so that's a goal that we definitely achieve. Not always happy, but that's the main focus. We want to do things that brings us life. We want to do the things that gives us joy. And I think it's important to focus on your happiness. There's a lot of negative things out there in the world, and you can choose to focus on those things, but focus on the things that make you happy. Think about the thing that makes you the most alive right now. So for myself, and I've been wanting to do this before it gets super hot out here in Las Vegas, but the one thing that will make me happy right now is to get outside, go hit a hiking trail, and then just go walk. Go look at nature, go look at the animals, not necessarily bugs, but just getting outside and then just hitting the hiking trails. That's one of my favorite things. It's one of the things that makes me happy. And yeah, so just think about what makes you happy. And if the things that you're doing right now aren't adding and contributing to your happiness, why are you doing it? So sometimes we have to step back and then just realize that, life is short and it's not worth it not being happy in your life. So happiness is one of my goals that I focused on, and we continue to get that knocked out each and every day. All right, we are digging in the bag again. I promise you I'm not looking. This is completely random. All right, so we have the number 5. This number 5 is a picture of a house. So this is a random house that I pull off the internet, and this represents my dream of buying my own home. So out of all the goals that we had here, this one took the longest because this one was the most expensive goal that we had to get knocked out. So we got this done in 2017, and I believe we'll just say we started at the beginning because, we had to get ourselves on some type of foundation. I had to get out of my mom's house, and, I had to have a job. We had to do some things first in order for us to get set up to buy this house. So like I said, we did get this knocked out in 2017, and this one was a big relief. So after we got this goal set, 15 years ago, we went to the military, and then we transitioned quite a bit from the military. I did a short stint in Iraq, and that took me away from my wife for about 4 months. And then even after that, we had a period of time where we were averaging about 2 years of moving from house to house, between the military and Las Vegas, and it was absolutely crazy. So funny story I'll share with you. This was about 2016 and close to about Memorial Day. So we were, life is good. We're just hanging out. We had at that time planned to stay in this rental house for a little bit longer so we can save up for a decent sized down payment and to prepare ourselves to get into a house. Got a phone call or maybe an email. So we got some type of communication from the property management, and they basically said that we had 30 days to move. And this is kind of like, okay, where is this coming from? So 30 days to move. We didn't have a whole lot of time to waste, and we just had to get going. So we found a place real quick, got the paperwork rolling, got the references in, and then we got a phone call, I believe just a few days later after getting all this paperwork in, and then the owner of this place said, you know what, we changed our mind. You can stay here if you want to. Yeah, I'm silent here because I'm letting this sink in. So our world got rocked. And then you change your mind because you find out that we found another place. No, we're good. We're going to move anyways. So that was a crazy time. We decided to move 30 days, changed our plans. And then after that move, we got enough fire in our belly to say, you know what, enough's enough. We need to get this house thing settled and finalized so that way nobody's going to tell us to move anymore in our lives, not unless we want to. So we needed that push, and we needed that to get us to the place where we're at right now, where we're enjoying it. And we just hit our 2-year anniversary living in this house, and we have no plans whatsoever to move for a long time. So that's number 5. That's the house. And that one took the longest amount of time, and it took a lot of patience. And we went through quite a bit of struggles along the way to get that one done. Okay, so this one is number 7. So this picture is a picture of a heart and a pink background, and it says, I love you. So that's the love between me and my wife. I love my wife dearly. And it's something that I cherish quite a bit with her. So a quick story about my wife. I met her when I was about 16 years old in high school. And then when I first saw her, I said, you know what? I'm going to marry that girl someday. So that was crazy. I don't even think I realized what I was saying at that time, but I knew looking at her and then just kind of talking to her, there's something different about her. So we eventually started talking. We became friends, and I got the nerve to ask her out on a date. Our first date was the Fast and Furious, and that was probably somewhere in 2000. And I remember at that time being super nervous because I was planning to give her a nice kiss. So I had the setup perfect. The movie had just ended. I was just like, hey, you have something on your mouth. And she's like, what? And then boom, I give her a kiss. So that was our first kiss. So that was cool. And that led to us eventually getting married. And we've been married almost 15 years. So 15 years this fall. So very, very excited and very proud of our relationship. So that's I love you there. And then we have kids that we love too. But we'll talk a little bit more about them here shortly. So digging in the bag, I only have a few more left. Okay. So we have the number 2, and this is a picture of a family. So it's a husband and wife, an older child and a younger child. So this picture represents family. So family's huge, family's very important to me, and I wanted to start my own family. So just kind of piggybacking off of number 7, which was our love. This was important to me because I wanted a family of my own. So I'll give you just a little background about my own family. It's just a little bit. So came from single parent household, lived with my mom, lived with my brother, and then it was pretty much just the 3 of us. So I had a relationship with my dad, and I still do to this day, but my dad was not like physically present in the house. He was in the army, he was serving, he was doing his thing, and we had a great long distance relationship, and I'm definitely proud, and I appreciate all that he's done for me up to this point in my life. The one thing I was missing though was that father figure in the home, and there's just a lot of things that I knew that I would have learned had I had that male figure in the house. So it hurt, I didn't have that father figure. And then there was some times that I'm like wondering, why God, how come I didn't have, this father in the home? And, why does it have to be this way? Why does it have to be that way? I eventually got to the point of stop complaining. And then I realized once I had my own kids, I was going to make a change. So I said, you know what? When I have my own kids, I'm going to be with them every step along the way. I'm going to be there for every recital, for every practice, for every bath. I mean everything, the assemblies. And that's something that I'm proud to say that I've been a part of, for the 2 boys I have, my 9-year-old boy, and then my 4-year-old boy. So been there every step along the way. And then we've done quite a bit as a family, just, trying to raise these 2 boys and trying to do the best we can for them. And then just giving them the opportunities that we didn't have growing up. So I'm pretty proud of my family. And if it wasn't for this family, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So very proud of them. So we're down to the last one, and I don't know if you're keeping track of this at home, but we have lucky number 4. So number 4 is important to me. It's a picture of a cross, and then this represents my faith. So my faith in God, my faith in Jesus, and it's faith that's got me to this point where I'm at today. So there's been a lot of times, a lot of tears shed, and a lot of prayers that have been answered along the way, and I attribute everything that I've been able to accomplish because of my faith. So all the people that have poured into my life, all the people that have mentored me, the people that I've been able to mentor along the way as well too. I believe this is something that God has given me the opportunity to do, and I'm very proud of the fact that God has blessed me, and then just given me this opportunity, especially to talk to you today. And just know that you have to have something higher than yourself. If you're not a believer, that's fine. If you don't believe in that higher, that higher God, that higher power, that's fine too. I'm not here to preach to you today, but I'm just being honest with you. Faith is what has got me here today. And then it's really faith that's allowed me to do all of these things on this chart that you see here today. So one thing about faith, and this kind of ties back to about documenting your vision and then executing on your goals. So the scriptures talk about like casting vision. So if you have a vision like in your mind, go ahead and write that down and put it on paper. So make it plain in front of you. And then that's what I love about this goal chart. It's a plain picture of the goals that I had deep down inside. It's the goals that we had shared between me and my wife. And it's these goals that I was able to look at when I was feeling down, or I was feeling a little, like, hey, I need to push on and go to that next place. It's being able to have this in front of me that has allowed me to execute on these goals. So if I didn't have this in front of me, if I didn't have this in the back of my mind, I wouldn't have stayed focused long enough to see these things all the way through. So this was a 13-year journey to get all these goals done on this paper. And then I'm able to share this with you 15 years after the fact. So from 2004, the time that I wrote these goals down, to today, where I'm able to look back and then say, you know what, I'm so thankful that I've been able to experience all these things. And then also to be able to get these goals done and then be able to share this with you here today. So I hope this inspires you today to go after your own goals. And I would love to hear what your goals are. So if you want to shoot me an email, it's at jamal@thephone-guy.com, and that's THAPHONE guy.com. So you can shoot me an email there. If you want to leave a comment on iTunes or anywhere else you listen to your podcast, feel free to shoot one there. Also, if you want to leave a comment on jamalabbott.com, go ahead and go there. And I want to hear your thoughts, want to hear your goals. And let me know if there's any goals that you have on the plate that you're still going after, and that if there's anything else that you've accomplished that you want to share, I'd love to hear it. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for tuning in today. Once again, I wouldn't be here today and shooting this podcast to you if it wasn't for you, the listeners out there. So thank you very much. And I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.